Yeah, we can get started. So just to give an update, we released the Akron wallet at akron.io. So yeah, it's a much easier way to participate in the Spaces protocol in the auctions. Before you had to run a Bitcoin full node and also Spaces on top of it, and it took a while to sync and everything. But Akron.io, the Akron wallet is really easy. You just download it, and it syncs really fast, and you can then create a wallet and send yourself Bitcoin and start bidding or opening auctions. And so, right now we have a Mac version of that, and Linux and Windows is there. There is a Windows version in the GitHub repo, but we're waiting for Spaces 0.08 to be released and then we'll put the Windows version on Akron.io, but that should be coming up very soon, like in the next week or so. And then Spaces 0.0.8 release is coming very soon. And Buffer, do you want to talk about what's in that?
So it's going to be a small release. We're adding RPC authentication and also more efficient UTXO management. So make it less likely to create dust outputs, and also save a bit on transaction fees when registering and transferring Spaces. And then once we release that and we get the Windows version for Akron done, our primary focus will be Subspaces for the next couple of months, so that we design the mobile app for it, how the user experience works, how people are able to register handles and hold them in their wallet, and essentially we will have a testing period on testnet 4, so people will be able to play with Subspaces and see how they work and understand them better, and then we will eventually get them on chain, which would be the most exciting thing for Spaces. Yeah, that's it.
Subspaces is the next huge thing that we're doing, and kind of like the final piece of the puzzle that we want to do, which will allow this to scale to billions of users. That's what we're working on for the next couple of months, is just making sure that that's completely solid. And as Buffer mentioned, we're also working in conjunction with that, working on a mobile wallet, which will be focused on Subspaces. So it'll be more about managing your Subspaces, and having that with you, on your mobile wallet. And so basically, on-chain stuff, the top level will be more like Akron. Right now, this is how we're kind of thinking of it, is Akron wallet will be more the on-chain top level stuff, and the mobile wallet will manage all the Subspaces. Those are the two things we're working on a lot. And also we're working on another thing. So as part of this, we're working on atbitcoin.com. It's atbitcoin.com. This will be, this is launching at Bitcoin names. So our company got at Bitcoin in auction on the Spaces protocol, and our plan is that we're going to launch this at Bitcoin, so that users can get, at Bitcoin names, like Mike at Bitcoin or whatever. And our goal with this, there's two things with launching this. The main purpose of launching at Bitcoin is marketing. It's like to onboard as many people as we can onto the Spaces protocol. So I think it'll be a good, it's like a kind of a strategic way to really onboard a ton of people onto Spaces. So our focus will be getting like a lot of people in the Bitcoin community to get their @Bitcoin name. So we plan to launch it when Subspaces are ready, but we currently when you go to @Bitcoin, you can enter your email address and get notified when we launch. But we also will in the Telegram. The best place to keep up to date is in our Telegram group, and we'll because we want to let the people in the Telegram group, like reserve some of the @Bitcoin names early before Subspaces are completely ready, if they want to like reserve their name. So yeah, those are basically the main thing we're working on is Subspaces. That's the final piece of the puzzle. The mobile wallet goes with that to help manage Subspaces, make it easier. And then this @Bitcoin is kind of like a huge marketing front to try to onboard as many people as we can to the Spaces protocol. And at the same time, it could help like generate revenue to help us continue funding development and stuff. So yeah, I think that's everything. I don't know, Buffer, is there anything else you wanted to say? Or if anybody has questions, feel free to raise your hand. Raise your hand. So I invited you. Go ahead.
Yo.
How's it going?
All right. Yeah, that sounds great. The marketing @Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin names, they'll be paid. Will they be bidding on them, or will people just be able to type them in and it would be a flat rate? They could just buy them out.
Yeah. What we're planning to do right now is $25. You can just register a name if it's still available, and you get it forever.
Sweet. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's exciting. That should be good with the marketing and the mobile wallet. That's going to be great too. Now you mentioned that that's going to be primarily for Subspaces. Will you have the option to manage top level spaces through the mobile wallet also?
I think at the beginning, we're focusing on keeping them kind of separate right now. Akron will be more of the top level stuff, and the mobile wallet will be like Subspaces. That's our plan for right now, but it could change. It just depending on how things go.
Okay, yeah. I mean, either way, I think having a mobile option for users is huge. And I have a few more questions. So I'm trying to help out a friend who's a new user he has a fresh install of Linux, Ubuntu, and I'm having trouble installing the Akron wallet. Is there any prerequisites that I need to install? I'm seeing things like Cargo, Rust, RustUp, Curl. Is there a package that contains all those? Do they have to be installed in a specific sequence? Any advice?
So I think the Linux stuff will be a lot easier. Alexei created like something to like combine everything together so that you could just download it and run it on Linux. So we should have that with the Windows release very soon, in just a few days.
Okay, cool. So I'll just wait for that then. All right, that sounds good. Can we renew top level spaces with a single Bitcoin transaction if we have multiple, or does each top level space that we have require its own individual separate Bitcoin transaction to renew?
You could renew multiple subspaces in just one transaction.
Okay, that's subspaces. How about top level spaces?
Yeah. For top level spaces, you could do that. I guess we don't yet support it in Akron directly. We should probably add that to the UI. But right now, if you use like a space CLI, you could type in like renew, and then you list all the space names that you want to renew, and it will create just one transaction to renew them all.
What? Okay, I'll have to try that. So it's renew, then you list them all separated by a comma?
Just a space.
Separated by space? Okay.
Yeah, we should add that to the GUI.
Okay, yeah, that would be huge. All right, next question. For the upcoming rollouts, if spaces have the same bid amount, what's the tiebreaker that determines which space rolls out first? Because I'm seeing a lot that are 1,000 Satoshis, and it looks like they're coming up for the next 10 release, but then someone else puts in a open bid, and then it knocks some of the other ones out, but they're the same 1,000 Satoshi bid. So how does the protocol determine which spaces get rolled out if they have the same exact Satoshi amount?
Yeah, so the tiebreaker is like the lexicographic order of the hash of the space. So it's a bit technical because we don't really care that much if all have like the same bit value, then the tiebreaker is like essentially the name of the space. We take the hash of it, and which orders higher will get into the auction first.
So is there any way to game that as a user to get on top, or is it just random through the Bitcoin network?
You could think of it as random, but to get like higher in the auctions, you just have to bid higher. I mean, that's the main thing to get into from the pre-auctions to auctions.
Okay. All right. And I remember, I think it was Mike or somebody said something in the Telegram about when you're in the Explorer and you're searching for a name, if it's listed on spaces.market, it'll show or it'll link to that. Has there been any update on that? Can we expect to see that anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that, I'll check into that because that would be, it shouldn't be hard and it would be nice to have that. So I'll double check into that.
Okay, cool. And my last question, I appreciate you guys answering all these questions. Buffer, how did your talk go? I think it was LA BitLabs. How did that go? And is there a recording anywhere that we could view that?
Oh, you mean the LA BitDevs talk? I don't believe there was a recording. I think it went great. People had a lot of questions about how spaces work, and they were excited to see the protocol and and they understood the utility of spaces. So that was cool. We should do more of those.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys for all your work.
Thanks. Primary user, did you want to say something?
Sure. Thanks, guys. I guess one of the things I wanted to ask was I'm a successful bidder on some top-level names that I intend to give as gifts. So was my intention was kind of altruistic in a few of these where it's like, it's a unique name, and while the party who's receiving it may not appreciate the value of this thing yet, I presume that that's going to happen over time, and by virtue of me kind of securing it on their behalf, I'll that was my intention. The question is, what's kind of the easiest way for them to receive it under their control? And my guess would be for them to set up the Akron wallet, and they shouldn't have to even fund it, correct? They can just set up an Akron wallet, generate a receive address, send it, tell me what it is, and then I can perform a transfer transaction, correct? Would that be the simplest kind of way to do it?
Yeah. So they just download Akron and they click on receive, and then there's the spaces tab. They could copy a space address and you could send to that, and that's it. They don't need to fund it.
Yeah. Now, a year later, they would have to have some fund in there if they were to continue renewing it. But that could happen anytime within that subsequent year. Okay.
like from the date they receive it, they
Mhm.
would have to renew it after a year. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because as Curious Bitcoin is kind of noticing, it's like to set someone up with the source code or a Unix instance and get all the bits and pieces and a wallet synced and stuff like that is, or a full node synced and stuff is quite an undertaking. And that barrier of entry, while fine for the the dedicated, the casual user is probably too much to manage. So yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Just kind of wanted to kind of get some confirmation on that. The other thing was the code that you're using for @Bitcoin in terms of, while that's kind of the premier first effort to get people to register for subdomain names or subspace names, is that code available, or are you going to make it public such that other people could use it as a template for other top-level spaces?
Yeah. So like the protocol itself, like subspaces, will be open source. So people
Sure.
could like sell their own subspaces, but we will also offer like a very simple way, like for Impervious as a company. So if you have a space and you want to sell subspaces, we make it like super easy for you, and we charge a small fee. But like probably like 99% of the code will be open source.
So I could grab the repo and set up my own effectively at Bitcoin, and operate it independently.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I think those are the questions. A couple things just as of note. I did inquire while I was at Bitcoin Magazine or the Bitcoin conference last week about speaking at sessions, and was told that it's obviously they just wrapped the last one, so it's a year off, and it's going to be in Vegas. I have a feeling it's probably going to be the same week in Vegas now going forward for probably the foreseeable future, because I think they've secured the venue for some long contract. But the application for presentations is not fully open yet. I've got good contacts with the folks over there now, so hopefully we can kind of start vying for a speaker position for next year. Obviously that's a year off, which is quite a ways, but as we kind of gain momentum, I think who knows, maybe we'll be really rolling and kind of on an upswing leading into that. Ahead of that, in October, we have the Atlanta Bitcoin Conference, which is a technical conference, and I've submitted for a speaker slot for that to talk about Spaces protocol. And obviously, the more we have, the more we can talk about. But and Mike, it was more just to kind of secure the slot, get it in the system. We could co-speak, or I'm not sure if Buffer is gonna be there again this year or not, but I don't have to be the one giving it. And by the way, I gave, as like Buffer, I had given speak to local BitDev here in Atlanta some months ago now, and I was asking the organizer, if the recording had been ready yet, and they're still processing their backlog of sessions that they try to edit them down and tighten them up and stuff like that. So I haven't received the video for that, but as soon as I do get a link for that, I will definitely post it up on the Telegram channel. And
Cool. Yeah.
I think
thanks.
that's all I've got.
Yeah. Thanks for doing all that stuff and helping out like that. That's really helpful.
Yeah. There is one other topic, and it's kind of, I went trying to I mean, obviously, Spaces resolution is going to need to be built into various name resolution mechanisms. And thinking about this and like, what's the best way to do it? Obviously, we could make like a dedicated browser like you've done with Impervious in the past. That's one way to go. My efforts at trying to create a browser plugin were kind of didn't really yield much. It seems like the name resolution happens ahead of the plugin getting control. Other avenues that I've been thinking about are to hijack there's another effort called PubKey, PUBKY, and their project's effort is more like, instead of having this Bitcoin bound Spaces name, they're just like, create a public private key, and that public key is like your identifier. If you want to put a website behind it, then a DNS like resolution mechanism that understands that name, that hard to deal with long set of digits, hex digits, is like resolved before anything else. And they use a similar thing to what Spaces is doing in terms of the distributed hash table network, while they use the full the one that BitTorrent uses, and things time out quite quickly as opposed to the way we're kind of approaching it. They have a DNS resolver that does it, and I forked it and was looking at extending it to do also Spaces resolution, but the same dilemmas start kind of appearing, right? It's like it's hard to convince the browser that, hey, this is a legitimate name. But I was thinking, it's like, if we can get that working, that would be great. The @ does create some confusion, but there's also something I've noticed, which is that the very top level Spaces with an S domain doesn't exist in ICANN at this point. And if you were going to customize a DNS resolver, you could just start using top-level name.spaces, which looks like a valid domain name in terms of format, but at the ICANN level isn't a valid domain name. But if you're doing your own resolution first, you can always intercept that, convert it, handle it properly. Yes, I see .spaces as the very rightmost thing in the host name, so let me chop that off, consider it a Spaces top-level name, do the Spaces resolution, etc. And that, while convention-wise kind of violates the purity of what we're after, it does kind of give us a little like stepping stone to something. Of course, then the biggest dilemma then is like you have to convince people to install a DNS resolver somewhere on their machine or on their network that their machines point to. It's not an ideal situation, but something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I think that's a valid approach. If you want to like use Spaces as domains. Like another way, maybe you could do like Spaces / and then the handle. Then you could preserve the at least, but that's not technically a website anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the challenge with this is having people like configure their DNS, which I think is like a huge issue.
It's a huge deal. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm kind of reaching for ways that we can enable value using the protocol earlier, and there probably will be times when you want Spaces names to go to web resources. There'll be other types of resources, right? I mean, other than like Bitcoin addresses. I mean, theoretically, you can use it for mail exchanger records, stuff like that. And if the goal is to remove dependency on the traditional DNS resolution such that, we're more resilient, and then that makes a lot of sense. Once we go kind of start blending with the Nostr ecosystem, then you can kind of like do things like make special relays that understand spaces, resolution, etc. So you have a little more opportunity in my mind. You can make custom clients that understand spaces resolution inherently as well. So there's a couple opportunities there, but then that's that particular application, ecosystem. So we'll see.
I think like the easiest entry points will be like apps like Primal, which are like just like a Nostr client, and Blue Sky maybe. That would be like the easiest entry point for like people to use it directly, and yeah, I guess most people nowadays just use apps anyways. So, but yeah, I mean, I think websites is also a nice use case to have. Maybe like if Brave like were to like integrate it natively, then people don't have to like configure their DNS. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that
would mean that mean like forking Brave and putting together a PR that would do it, and then you'd have to get them to accept the fork. But possible, yeah. Then we were kind of like chasing every browser. That becomes quite a challenge as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things we can try for sure. And I think too, it depends on kind of in what way is the Spaces protocol kind of valued. It could have just a purely, wallet sort of a representation. That's the primary use case. But I think it's so much more than that. And again, I think it follows the Nostr ethos quite well in terms of trying to stay away from centralized, services. In my mind, Nostr, and they have some of their own naming sort of mappings emerging in the Nostr ecosystem as well. But yeah, they still rely heavily on DNS for especially getting the relay names, IP resolution, etc. That's it for me.
Yeah, I think we should like explore all options. I think that .spaces thing could still be like valuable to some people. It's just that we don't have that many websites hosted. But if you create some demo, that would be cool, and I'll try it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can put something together.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have any questions or want to say anything? All right, I guess we'll wrap it up. Yeah, just for anyone new, you can go to spacesprotocol.org, and from there you can join our Telegram group. That's the best place to stay up to date on everything. And we have this community call once a month, the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll do another call next month. All right. Talk to everybody later. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.